So what's going on? How has this been for you? And she was like, Heather, you've helped me correctly identify who the enemy is. The enemy's not food, and it's not my body, and it's not my thoughts. The true enemy is Satan. The work we did together really helped her see what parts of her struggle were tied to lies that he had been telling her her entire life. Hey friend, Heather Creekmore here. Happy Thanksgiving week. That was just a little snippet that I clipped from the episode you are about to hear, which is a holiday flashback episode. This was an episode I recorded back in November of 2020, but it's still just as applicable and encouraging today. And as I think about the journey I've been on with my body image and with food, I often forget how long the journey has been. And so as you hear me talk about food in this episode, it's kind of funny because I would say 4 years ago, I was at the very beginning of God starting to touch my food issues. As you hear me talk about it, know that at this point, it was just head knowledge. It wasn't really heart knowledge or the way I was living. But I think there's still a message that will encourage you, especially this week, this Thanksgiving week, when we need to be grateful. We should be grateful. And yet maybe you're still struggling with the food and the body and all the things. And hey, if you just feel trapped, if you just feel stuck, I think coaching's for you, friend. And the best way you can get a taste of that is by joining us on the 40-day journey, which starts January 7th. Go to improvedbodyimage.com and you can sign up and reserve your space in that. You have to grab the 40-day body image workbook on Amazon and then reserve your space in the 40-day journey. It's 6 weeks of Zoom calls. Friends, the feedback from this has just been amazing. And if you want to go on to do coaching after that, you are encouraged to do that, to dig deeper into your issues. But maybe 6 weeks is all you need to transform the way you see yourself. So I hope you'll plan on joining us for that. Now, let's get to this episode for Thanksgiving week called Food, Attitude, and Gratitude. Welcome to Compared to Who, the podcast to help you make peace with your body so you can savor God's rest and feel His love. If you're tired of fighting body image the world's way, Compared to Who is the show for you. You've likely heard lots of talk about loving your body, but my goal is different. Striving to fall in love with stretch marks and cellulite is a little silly to me. Instead, I want to encourage you and remind you with the truth of Scripture that you are seen, you are known, and you are loved no matter what your size or shape. Here, the pressure is off. If you're looking for real talk, biblical encouragement, and regular reminders that God loves you and you're not alone, you've come to the right place. I hope you enjoy today's show, and hey, tell a friend about it. I'll just tell you a quick story. I teach a class at our homeschool co-op, and we have a presentation time each week. And one of the little girls presented on what her mom made for a very special dinner they had. And she went on and on and on about all this delicious food. It was super cute. But after a presentation, there's a time for the other kids to ask questions. And one little boy raised his hand, and this is the question he asked. And did your mom eat the yummy dinner she made, or was she on a diet? Oh, friends, and the moms in our class kind of did a bit of a nervous giggle. And the girl was like, she ate it, of course, but my heart hurt. Our kids notice when we restrict food, and they learn from it. They learn how to have a disordered relationship with food. They learn that restricting is what we do, or worse, what is required even to bring your body to an acceptable place. Of course, we don't use that language. But isn't that what we're really communicating? Mommy isn't good enough right now. Mommy must be better. She must be better faster. And she must do this extreme program to make her better faster. Candidly, I wonder what my life would be like right now if my mom had never dieted. I wonder what my relationship with food would be like if I never learned the pattern of restriction, indulgence, restriction, indulgence. Some of you know exactly what I mean. Would I be able to look at a bag of Ghirardelli chocolate and not be tempted to eat them all? Would I be able to enjoy the chocolate and not feel guilty or start the bargaining with myself as to how many I could eat or how much I need to exercise if I ate this many? Some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. These games we play in our head, all about food. But here's the truth. God made food for our enjoyment. Like I had to process this. I mean, it's weird, but I had to process. God made food for our enjoyment. It's okay to enjoy food. It's okay to savor food. God gave us taste buds so we could taste sweet and savory and sour, all the flavors, right? God didn't design us to live on rice cakes. He didn't create these rules that diets have that say if it tastes good, it's probably forbidden. Like all these rules, all the diet rules, all the food rules, they all fight against our natural instinct to want to enjoy food. And in truth, God's creation of food and our bodies that were created for the enjoyment of food. Friends, I don't know why I thought that simple practically knocked me over, but it did. I have a hard time seeing food as something good. Food is something I fight with. Food is the enemy. M&Ms, I like to say, are my kryptonite because I truly love them, especially the mint varieties that are available at the holidays. But think about what I'm really saying in that. I'm saying that M&Ms have power over me. I'm saying that they're bad and I can't resist them. So what if I changed my attitude towards food? What if I were able to call food good? Yes, I'm segueing into attitude. Okay, I guess I wasn't clear about food, gratitude, and attitude, but now we're going to talk about attitude because I wonder if our attitude towards food isn't more important than what we actually eat, or at least as important. My friend Erin Carey, she's an integrative nutrition coach. She's been on the show a couple times. I've talked about her a lot, but she says a body under stress will not digest. If the foods we're eating are stressing us out because we've spent our entire lives conditioning ourselves to think that they're bad, I wonder if they aren't actually harming our bodies more because of what we believe about them than because of what they actually contain. Now, I know some of you have a disordered eating history like I do. And so to think about food as good may sound a little scary. Like if every food is labeled okay or good or permissible and no food is off limits, won't I eat all the things and gain hundreds of pounds and then be truly miserable? Like I know that's what you're thinking right now. And I'll be honest, I don't have a scientific way to tell you, no, that's not going to happen. But from things I've read and observed, I can tell you, I don't believe that's what will happen. Some of you are in the same spot I am, where you have food issues that are related to your health issues. Like maybe you ate a certain food and it gave you a certain issue. Like you can't eat gluten without breaking out a rash, or dairy tears up your organs inside. Like I get that. And so it's tricky to find the line between all foods are good, but not all foods make me feel good, and just let it go at that. So it's November and no one's talking about New Year's diets yet, but so many of us who were raised dieting feel fear and dread about food this time of year. We just do. We wonder how many pounds we'll pack on over the holidays. We try to play all these games with ourselves using rules we picked up from a women's magazine that say things like eat before you go to the Christmas party so you won't overeat once you get there. I mean, I don't know about you, friend, but I could eat a full meal and go to the Christmas party and still eat all the things. Or take a veggie tray to the party and then focus your eating on the tray you brought. I've done that too. And I've covered all the carrots on my plate with dips and mini egg rolls and cookies and fudge. Or my favorite, pick just one treat and then savor it. Yes, as long as that meant one treat from each category, I was good. I'd have one small cookie, one large cookie, one brownie-like dessert, one fruit dessert, one savory appetizer, one dip. You get the idea. Those food rules, they used to rule my life at the holidays. I was so consumed thinking about them, rattling through the list of them in my mind as I attended holiday functions. And the truth is, I go to Christmas parties so ultra focused on the food that I didn't really show up to engage and love others at the party. Even when I've hosted parties, I've been so focused on the food, what was left over, what I had to snag before it was all gone. Would there be enough pie left over for a piece later? You know what I'm talking about. How many mint M&Ms could I snag from the bowl before the guests came without the bowl looking too empty? All the things, friends, you know it. I've missed out on people and relationships because I was worried about what would go into my mouth and then my stomach. And then later, I would feel regret and shame and wonder how I could burn it off or how I could make up for my so-called food sins. So, like I started explaining in this segment, I don't have all the answers when it comes to food. I'd like to talk about body image. I have more experience there, but food is something I'm still kind of trying to figure out how to navigate. But I do know that neither extreme offers freedom. It's not freedom to be on a restrictive diet. Neither is it freedom to be so controlled by consuming certain foods that it owns you. There's got to be a place to live in the middle where there's peace and enjoyment and grace. My question to you is, have you found it? So truth is, for me, I'm working on it. I'm doing so much better than I ever have before. Sometimes I get carried away. I slip back into my, I'm going to finish the bag now and then not eat tomorrow way of thinking. And when I do, I just try to give myself grace. I confess to God my weaknesses and then I let it go. I don't wallow in the guilt. But I do still mess up all the time. I think it's harder to navigate food addiction issues than alcohol or drugs because you can live without drinks and drugs, but you can't live without food. You need it. So complete avoidance isn't possible. Therefore, you have to make peace with it. And again, I'm beginning to understand that an important part of making peace is understanding and believing that food is good and that it's okay to find pleasure in it. One other thought here, another place that I probably need to apologize. I always heard that emotional eating was bad. You were sinning if you went to the brownies instead of Jesus. I may have even implied this. I don't think I wrote it anywhere, but I may have implied it. But I wonder if it isn't okay to use food to nourish our souls and to comfort us. I'm beginning to think that to say food can't bring us emotional comfort or that there's something sinful about that is just plain wrong. I don't think anyone would say that about sex. You wouldn't say that it's wrong to have sex with your husband after an emotionally taxing event and to derive comfort from that. So I wonder if food isn't in the same category in a way. I wonder if there are times, like when you're sick or lonely or just sad, when it's not okay to curl up with something warm and nourishing just because it brings emotional comfort. And I hate that I feel like after I say that, I need to add all these disclaimers. Like, as long as you don't overdo it, or as long as you don't always run to it. Like, I hate the fact that I've had all of these food rules driven into my brain for so many years that I can't even say it's okay to curl up with something warm and nourishing because it brings emotional comfort without adding a zillion different disclaimer statements after. And maybe that's where I just need to stop. Maybe I've been putting too many fences around this for too long. If gluttony is really the only sin, then make that the line. Maybe it's okay to let food nourish your body and your soul. Of course, Jesus is the bread of life. He's our ultimate source of comfort, of nourishment. Yes, we should go to him always. But maybe he created warm chocolate chip cookies and a cup of coffee to nourish us along with him. What if it's okay to enjoy a cheesy casserole because it reminds you of home? What if it's okay to have some ice cream because it makes you feel good when you're celebrating? Why do we have so many food rules that restrict something beyond what God's restriction is? So this is Thanksgiving week and it's time to be grateful. I've done other episodes on this topic, so I won't spend a lot of time here today, but can I encourage you with one truth? When we're grateful, we appreciate things more, right? So this may sound weird, but what if we tried being really, really grateful for food this year? Would we appreciate it? Would we be less likely to overindulge because we'd be thankful for it? Maybe not trying to finish it off so it won't tempt us tomorrow? That's just a random thought I had. Of course, being grateful for our family, health, homes, all of those things are very important to overcoming comparison issues. But what about being thankful for food and for our bodies? Can you say, God, thank you for my body? Ouch and wow, right? I've struggled with that one too. But God made your body. He calls it good. Can you thank him for it? If you're struggling with any of these food and body kinds of issues, can I invite you to something? Maybe it's time that you just call your body okay too and enjoy life. Hey, thanks for listening today. I hope something today has helped you stop comparing and start living. Hey, have you left a review for the podcast yet?
If you haven't, that's the nicest holiday gift that you could give me. If this show has touched you, blessed you, encouraged you, made you think, would you go right now on your favorite podcast platform? Just press pause and go right over and leave us a 5-star review. Write a couple words about what this show has meant to you. There's nothing that helps the show grow more and find more women who need encouragement around these issues. So thanks for considering.